Hello and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Catherine Haleko and I'm here with Terri Morrow. Say hi, Terri.
Hello.
So usually on this podcast we talk about parenting issues, but once a week Terri and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. So this week we have a tasty challenge round to discuss and of course more of our family sitcom palooza.
Yeah.
First up is One Day at a Time. We have been watching the Netflix series, and this week there was a very heavy episode, Hello, Penelope, and then a much lighter one called Storage Wars, although that one did have a little, tinge of mental health content as well. So yeah, the Hello, Penelope one, Penelope had been taking antidepressants and going to group therapy, and she was doing so well that she dropped both of those things, and it was a very bad idea. And Schneider proved to be the hero by really supporting her and helping her get past her to figure out that she needed to go back to those two supporting therapies to help her. So
it was nicely done. I don't know why she would not have wanted to tell him necessarily, but
her boyfriend.
I mean, that's what sort of spurred it, was that she didn't want to tell him about it, and so and she was feeling so good that she just sort of was gonna. It was very predictable that, of course, this was going to derail everything. It was going to. I thought it was going to be there was going to be a bad dinner with his parents, but she just blew it off entirely. I was a little relieved plot wise when she just couldn't get out of bed instead of doing things. I guess if she was bipolar, then we could have had the scene where
the horrible dinner.
Yes, but with depression, she just pretty much wanted to keep sleeping. So, given his background, you could, I think, be expected that he might be sympathetic to that. So
her boyfriend,
was,
Max,
it was sort of a non-issue when she finally mentioned it to him.
Right.
So, but a good PSA: don't go off your meds, people.
Right.
If you want to stop taking them, talk to your doctor. Taper off. You don't just stop.
No, it's not gonna go well for you. So, but it was handled well.
Yes.
And then the follow-up one, Storage Wars, where humorously we discover that Penelope's apartment has a garage that she never knew about because Lydia completely filled it up with her stuff. So it's like that dream, you have if you live in New York or somewhere where, space is at a premium and you have a dream that your apartment or your house has an extra room and you just discover it one day. That's kind of like what happened.
I've never had that dream, but that would be interesting.
I've had it when I lived in a studio apartment.
Finding another room in a studio would be quite an achievement. A crawl space of some sort.
Suddenly a doubling in number of rooms.
We had in our old house, we had quite a big attic that could be used for storage, but also it was done so that it could be a bedroom. And then the walls were like, you would open a door in the wall, and then there was all this space between the fake wall and the actual wall of the house that you could stuff things in. That was some nice hidden space. But always creeped me out a little bit to try to. If it was a horror movie, there would be something in there.
Right. But it would be a good place to store your 20-year-old magazines and your feather boas. And
yes. I have my mother's china in my attic now. Has not been opened since she passed away, and I took it on. But I was always very excited to get it. But then, of course, by the time I did, I had my own. So it's sitting up there. Very nice green china. I'll pass it down to Lena, and she can put it in her attic.
Right. Exactly.
just go pass down from mother to daughter in storage. But I can relate. I have trouble throwing things away. I don't have a whole garage packed full of stuff, although I have family members who do. But
yeah, it was fun. It was mostly funny, but it also got at some of the serious issues of first of all, don't lie for 15 years about the existence of a garage. And, we don't actually need to keep these old things necessarily because we have
sentimental value.
Yes.
Yeah. And they did
sentimental value too. The broken umbrella and the broken lawn chair.
Yeah. I can see that though. I'm sympathetic. Yeah, but if I were Penelope, I would want the garage. Get your stuff out. So it's got to be a happy medium. I'm not sure how shelves really help. I think that was sort of a cheat there at the end because it seems
well, but then they also mentioned there's other garage. So I think Schneider hooked her up with an additional storage space.
That would be helpful. When they sort of did address our comment just last week that Schneider never seemed to do any actual superintendent work.
Right.
So it turns out that hanging around in people's apartments and talking to them is superintendent work. That the other stuff is just, that's not the stuff that's important.
Right.
Yes, you have to, unclog the toilet, but also you have to sit and watch TV and drink lemonade.
Drink lemonade. And did you notice Elena said, well, should I go down there and apologize to them? And he said, during NCIS?
Yes.
I also forgot to mention that I think it was last week's, whenever the one was that had the flashback to when Elena was a baby.
Yes.
And they were arguing about piercing her ears. Mm-hmm. So when my daughter was a baby and I lived in West New York, New Jersey, which is fully Cuban, except for me and a few other people. And I would take her for walks and people would think she was a boy. Even if she was wearing pink or whatever.
Yeah. Because
she didn't have her ears pierced. So it was the exact thing that Lydia was talking about. Totally happened to me. Yeah. Happened to me and my little baby who was
but it didn't
pierced. So I forgot to mention that when we were actually talking about that episode.
That's fun. But nobody took her in the back room and just did it while you weren't looking?
No. No. I wouldn't have put it past the daycare ladies, actually, because the daycare was also Cuban. So anyway,
some things are important.
It was a nice place. I liked the people there. So anyway, so that's one day at a time.
Yeah, we're drawing close to the end.
That's right. Of
season 2, but there's a season 3 coming. Yay.
Yeah, season 3 will be coming. But before we get to the end of season 2, we will move on to Trophy Wife.
Yes, a show that did not get a season 2.
One season show.
One and done.
Yeah, so we watched episodes 4 and 5, the breakup and the tryst. Mm-hmm. And the breakup in question was related to the Natalie Morales character, who is Kate's friend Meg, who is just kind of a train wreck. And she breaks up with her boyfriend, and then she and Kate sort of temporarily break up from being friends because their lives have changed quite significantly.
They have. It's Kate is no longer so into just, drinking for days and topless swimming in the pool and eating science projects and stuff like that.
I mean, in Meg's defense, the science project was made out of candy. So.
But she ate the styrofoam, too.
I know. Oh, boy.
Well, I always enjoy Natalie Morales. I'm happy to have her on this and have her have an episode where she's sort of featured. But, man, she is a train wreck.
Yes, she is. She's not a good influence.
She is not.
on our heroine, Kate.
And Kate seems to be pretty much over it, so...
Yes.
But,
Kate enjoys the... I mean, she seems to be surprisingly into the whole, like, I'm going to be a mom, I'm going to, cook and go to school meetings and drive kids around.
Yeah.
Which I think is a little bit surprising, but we're supposed to think that it's been a year, since she came into this role. So
Yeah. You can see how that would be a problem in this friendship, and it's good that they address it. But Meg does seem to be somewhat unrealistic in her expectations. Mm-hmm. She got married and then she disappeared for a week. Our honeymoon.
Maybe she was on her honeymoon. That's it.
I really enjoyed Bradley Whitford's completely laid-back performance in this. Pete is just like the mellowest guy in the world. Nothing much ruffles him.
He kind of has to be, what with Diane and Jackie and his kids. And, yeah.
He just, he's very sweet.
He did
not
get
Josh
a little
Lyman
flustered.
like at all.
No, but he did get flustered when he was locked in the storage closet at school in the second episode that we watched called The Tryst.
I love that one at the. I think was it that episode where they don't realize that wife number one, what's her name, Diane is on the FaceTiming on the computer.
Oh, yeah.
They're talking in the background.
They're talking about her.
She's responding to what they're saying, and
she's coming from
they put her outside.
Yes. Yes, that was a good little...
Fun uses of technology.
And then that was the same one where you had Jackie recording her video for online dating.
Yes.
And the kids helping her.
Poor Jackie. Yes. And then Bert not helping her because he doesn't want her to do it.
Smart kid.
Yes. Still adorable.
Yes.
And they wind up at the end with the fireball coming out of her eye. Yeah, that's going to attract guys. If the little kid doesn't, and the green tea enemas don't scare them away.
I know.
Shooting fireballs out of the eyes will do it.
Right, and the part where she said Bert's her number one guy and she's looking for a solid number two. Speaking of enemas. Oh boy.
Yeah, don't count on anything there, honey.
Mm-hmm. But like I mentioned, I think last time, I enjoy the relationship that Jackie has with the older kids.
Right. Yes.
She's their former stepmother, I guess. Yeah. And they all still kind of get along.
Yeah.
It's nice.
She calls Warren to come over and do the Legos with Bert. It's nice relationship between the two brothers, as we think we mentioned last week also. And poor Warren having to take the PSAT.
I know. Where was Hillary during all this? Does she have to take those, or she does, but she doesn't have to study or something?
I don't know. Well, she had her science project done 3.5 weeks early.
Right.
So here you were thinking that she would have nothing to bring to school that day.
Yeah.
No, she's on top of it.
3 weeks. Oh boy.
Well, 2 more very fun episodes. This one was a little more adult focused than the first few had been, I think, a little bit. Mm-hmm. So more on their relationship and how that's working out. So that was fun.
Yeah.
And friendship as well.
Right. So. And we'll look forward to some more of those. Yeah.
We interrupt this podcast to remind you to please consider the free Radio Public app for all your Parenting Roundabout listening needs. If you listen to our podcast on the app, we'll get paid a little for each listen and more if you listen a lot.
It's a great way to financially support our podcast without having to actually spend, money. Now on to our challenge round. Our next topic today is our challenge round. So it was my turn to challenge you, and I told you that you needed to watch an episode or two of Nailed It on Netflix.
Yeah, well, I watched the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
And, there were parts of it I liked, but I really don't care for the host.
Aha.
She just seemed so over the top to me. I just wanted to tell her to sit down and be quiet. She may have been sampling too many of the desserts, because she was on 150%, and I just dialed it down, honey. And the little wedding cake lady from the first episode, I think she's angling for her own series. She was
just the way she decided to just take a little walk through the pantry and the supply area and help herself to a few things.
Yes.
Oh, she's funny.
She was a little,
this is not
little sticky.
Yes.
And
it's not your usual, because you're not like a reality show person.
Yes, I mean, I watch cooking shows, and I like cooking shows, and the idea of this is fun. It seemed like it wasn't sure whether it wanted to be a cooking show or a comedy show, and maybe leaned a little too far on the latter. I couldn't quite figure out how they were awarding things.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to necessarily go with what they were saying. And it's like, what, the first person who wins the first round gets a hat and some prize. And the first episode, the woman, when she gets the standing mixture, she had such a look on her face like, oh.
That's it?
Well, all right. Yes.
Well,
but then and then the person who won was the one who did the worst in the first round. So apparently the first round has nothing to do with anything. But then in the second episode, the person who won the first round won the second round too. She won everything, even though it seemed like they were saying that somebody else's cake was better. So
right, and she's the one that made me laugh in the second one, that she had her own food truck, like, that made desserts. But they showed some of her stuff, and it did not look very professional. Yeah. I have to wonder, like, what makes somebody decide they want to do something like this? You know?
Yeah. Especially these like first season cooking shows always make me wonder that.
Right.
Where did
like,
they get
how
these
did they
people?
find
Because
these
this
people?
is a completely sight unseen thing, and they don't always seem like they know entirely what they're doing there.
Right.
So do they just like call people off the street? This is what I wonder.
Yeah.
Yo, have you ever baked anything? It doesn't matter. Come on in.
Yeah.
And
a lot of the success of an episode depends on those people. You know, they have to be.
Yes.
Because there's a later one. There's only 6 altogether, but there's one.
There's going to be another season, though.
Yeah.
I saw online.
There's one later on that I watched where the 3 bakers were just interchangeable. Like, I couldn't.
Yeah.
Nothing about any of them distinguished them from the others.
Right.
So it was really hard to follow and to care.
Yeah.
You know, because you're like, was this the one who said that thing? Or was she the one who made this? Or, you know, you can't remember. So.
Yeah. But that's true. And I also wonder, as I've wondered about other of these amateur baking shows, why the time needs to be a factor.
Right.
You know, you're going to be time lapsing it anyway. So it's not a concern for the production. And you're already giving people who really can't do this incredibly difficult challenge.
Right.
You really don't need to rush them on top of it. I don't think.
But
I think it would be more fun if you didn't.
But
if they had the time to do their best bad job.
Right. But I just wonder how much of a difference it would even make. Like, some of their efforts are pretty pathetic.
That is true. But, you know, it's the more pathetic. I don't know. Is it more fun if they're more pathetic or less fun? I don't know.
Well,
that one guy did a very credible pirate donut decoration.
Most of them were pretty game about, you know, just trying it and improvising when they needed to and accepting the giggles that came their way. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted it to be more fun than it was. It just seemed like the contestants weren't quite sure how much they should camp it up. Mm-hmm. And the host was just dialing it up to,
yes, too far.
Way beyond what was necessary.
I did enjoy her little relationship with the stage hand or whatever. The guy Wes, who's just walks on for a second. And
it reminded me of the cooking show in Master of None. That was, but that was a scripted comedy, so it was supposed to be bad. In this one, I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, really.
Yeah.
It's fine. It wasn't enjoyable enough, but it just seemed like, I guess it just didn't work for me that much as fun. But no, it was entertaining.
Yeah, and it's fun to see, the challenges that they give them when they unveil. Like, there's another one that I watched where it's these 3 round cakes that are emoji faces. Yeah. And, I, of course, have the reaction like, oh, that doesn't look that hard. Like, I could do that. And then, of course,
you should be on the show.
Yeah, and this must be how they get people to go on the show, because it, of course, was not easy at all, and they looked ridiculous. So sometimes they're deceptively challenging, I guess.
Yes, that's true. I think it could have been shorter. They were
30 minutes. They were like a little too long for you.
Well, that was a little over 30 minutes in it. Maybe they only really needed the one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something about it wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
But I wish it well. And it's, I didn't mind watching it. It was a nice way to pass time. Yeah. But it needed to do something differently for me. And I'm not quite sure what. Decide on a tone.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So it didn't quite nail it for Terri.
Didn't quite nailed it. Mm-hmm. Not.
So for next week, we are going to skip the challenge round for next week and for the next few weeks.
We think.
We
really don't know.
Yes.
There may be weeks in between. The West Wing Weekly people are messing with us again.
So here's the plan.
We love them
this week.
But still.
Yes. Our plan
for the week ahead.
Right. We will finish season 2 of One Day at a Time with the final 3 episodes of season 2. So those they're called Homecoming, Citizen Lydia, and Not Yet. And then we'll also do 2 episodes of Trophy Wife. These are number 6 and 7. They're called Halloween and The Date. And as you alluded to, we will return for at least 1 week to our West Wing watch with an episode that Terri is very excited about.
Yes.
Evidence of things not seen.
And I've probably oversold it because it's not a really big episode. It's just very enjoyable to me.
Just one you have.
Nice. It's the calm before the storm of the end of the season.
Okay.
And it's one of those, an evening in the White House sort of things.
Nice.
So I think you will like it.
We'll watch that and we'll listen to the accompanying podcast, West Wing Weekly.
Which, who knew that they were going to release their things they're recording on tour while they were on tour?
Yeah.
Not us. So happy to be able to finally see this, and yet still confused about
right.
what lies ahead.
Exactly.
So
stay tuned.
We know next week.
Well, and the other thing we can say is that not next week, but the week after, we will start watching Dancing with the Stars.
Yes.
So that's to come, so we for sure.
Following all the tweets of people practicing and giving interviews and making up team names.
Fun stuff.
Yep.
So that's going to be it for round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes, including our daily speed rounds and weekly group chats. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Bye, Terri.
Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, everyone.